Yes guys, and welcome to another video. So we do have a few things to cover in this video. It was originally going to be dedicated just to the pre-season game last night against Sevilla, where we did draw 1-1 in Portugal, of course. Two totally different teams again per half. First half, it was very much what I believe to be the closest thing to our sort of best side, or one of our best sides. The second half for me, it was a very mix and match. The entire back line were full of players that I don't think are even going to make the bench when we do get to the Premier League season, let alone in the first team or in the starting 11. So it was a good run out for a lot of players anyway, particularly in that second half. But that first half was very, very good to see. It was exciting to see that midfield trio of Siddiqui. We had Habib Diarra and Lafay in the middle, and that just... it looked fantastic, and for a trio that had never played together as well, they looked really, really impressive. But before we do get into a little bit of a review, like I said, it was going to be originally dedicated to just that review. But a few things have happened since then. A couple of other little news pointers that I do want to discuss. So I'm only really going to dabble in the match review a little bit, and then we're going to go on to the news, because otherwise it's going to be a 50-minute video, and I'm sure you guys don't want that on a Sunday morning. So anyway, yeah, getting into it, you might have noticed something on my chin, by the way. It isn't ketchup from my full English. If you must know, I actually I went absolutely flying off a bike the other evening. I hadn't ridden a bike in ages. The bike that I was on, the brakes completely didn't work, and I was sent flying off a bike. So there's your Sunday morning comedy for you. Sadly, don't have any videos, but it hurt like a bastard. But either way, let's get into it. So we do have a little bit of news, but we are going to dabble on the match review first. So we had Simon Moore in goal across the back. We had Huggins on one side, Hume on the other, Sealt and Dan Ballard in the middle, and I really like that, to be fair. I'm really liking Sealt. Of course, we haven't seen too much of him because he's always picking up injuries, but I've always liked Sealt the way he plays. For such a big, strong lad, he is good with his feet. He seems to link up very nicely with Ballard in there. Huggins as well, of course. I've always liked Huggins, but he's another one that's always been very injury prone or out injured. But he's looking really impressive as well. It looked like a really nice back four. But then in the middle, you had Siddiqui, Diarra and Lafay as well, as he alluded to before. Very, very good. These seem to link up very well. Siddiqui, for me, he just gets absolutely everywhere. Similar to Diarra in the sense that he just seems to cover every blade of grass. And that's not just to say all he can do is run around. Very nice touches on the ball, very controlled and assured and confident on the ball. Siddiqui, the first time seeing him, he was very similar to Diarra in terms of covering every blade of grass, but equally, for a little lad as well, he's very tenacious. He's very tenacious, which we kind of knew anyway, and I've mentioned in previous videos. Very aggressive. He's a right nippy little bastard. You know, because you can see it when there's other players trying to keep hold of him, trying to mark him, and he's having absolutely none of it. And even, like I said, he's not letting them bully him at all. He's giving it back just as much as they're giving it to him, and I loved seeing that. He looked controlled on the ball. Had a couple of efforts as well from outside the box. On one wing, we had Talby on the right-hand side, and we had Adingra on the left with Mayenda up top. Now, I think Adingra, for me, he looked so sharp, and he did look a level above, to be fair. He looked absolutely fantastic. Very direct, constantly trying to get down to byline or cut inside, as we know. Very sharp, very quick. And I think he looked very impressive, given it was his first time in a Sunderland shirt. Talby on the other side, he didn't do anything wrong, to be fair. But I wish he did just have that little bit more confidence, as, you know, Adingra was on the left-hand side. Every time he got it, he wanted to make something happen, whereas I felt like Talby just didn't want to do anything wrong. So rather than actually getting at his man or really making them work, he was kind of doing the easy option, just passing it backwards. That's not saying he's shit, by the way, or played shit. Of course not. This is just me being honest with the match review, what I saw. You can see that he just really wanted to make a good impression and not risk doing something bad. So I think in the future we will see his confidence come up a little bit. I think he had a couple of shots from the edge of the box that did get blocked, but other than that, yeah, he was, when he did get it, he'd usually pass it backwards, or he'd maybe cut inside a little bit, and it wasn't really asking too many questions, is what I'm saying. But in that first half, we did look very, very good, in my opinion. It's a good Sevilla side, you know, a very good side. Who, I know they didn't have the greatest season last season, but they're still a massive club, so it was a great test against really good calibre players, and I was impressed. I felt that we're actually the better side. Lafay got the goal. It was a mistake from their full-back. He tried to pass it back to the keeper. He's nicked in. He sold the keeper, and then he's put it in the back of the net. to make it 1-0 half-time. And I think we limited them really, in both halves, to be fair, to both sides, to both Sunderland sides for each half. We limited them largely to just sort of shots from distance or the edge of the box because we weren't letting them in at all. And like I said, you can give credit to both sides for each half for that. But second half came out. It was a totally different side. It was again, we had Abdullahi up top with Easter as well. Alexic, come on, Dhannoo, Brown. Like I said, that back line was just youth players. None of them were first team. More remained in goal though. Roberts, of course, on the right hand side, who again, he looked very sharp. But it definitely didn't have that sort of level of control and quality that we had in the first half. It just felt like it was a team really thrown together, which is what it was. We did make one really good chance, and it was Abdullahi in that second half, who, again, he's not putting a foot wrong this pre-season. He just absolutely bullied himself down that left-hand side, took on his man. He's one-on-one with the keeper. He's tried to do the unselfish thing, and it looks like he's kind of half in one mind to try and take on the keeper, half in one mind to try and lay it off to Easter, who was arriving late, just a few yards next to him. But he's kind of like ran with the ball and then let it run till it goes past the keeper. But then I don't think he realised that there was a defender just about to come in front of Easter, who had the run, so the defender managed to claw back and get the ball away. So it was a massive wasted opportunity there. But just to get himself in that position anyway was really good to see, because he did have to wrestle his way, and he's looking very impressive. He's really staking a claim, I think. I don't think he looks half bad. For maybe alone in the Championship, potentially, but at the minute, he is looking just as good as, only going over or on the course of the last two games, of course, and they're only pre-season, but over the course of the last couple of games, he isn't looking miles away from Mayenda and Isidore. So he is doing really well. But yeah, last kick of the game, they did manage to carve out an opportunity in the box where they've smashed it towards goal. It took a couple of little deflections and it's flew past Moore in goal to make it 1-1. So yeah, it was a really, really good run out. And like I said, that first half was more what I liked to see. The second half was just, to me, it just looked like a team thrown together, which essentially it was. And it wasn't the most easiest on the eye, shall we say. But yeah, so 1-1, happy with that. That midfield trio of Diarra, Siddiqui and Lefay really excites me. I just think the more those three play together, the more exciting and the better they will get, the more they'll gel. But yeah, I'm going to leave that there with a match review as such anyway. So if you want to let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the match review, it'd be very interesting to see what you guys thought. Like I said, it was two totally different sides in each half. But yeah, good run out. Really good run out. Now, couple of things. Firstly, before we get to this one, because that one seemed like it was all but done. Although we did have the odd report. I did say that, of course, Fabrizio was saying that the deal's agreed, blah, blah, blah. However, there were some local journalists suggesting that it wasn't totally done yet, which is what I said in my last video. However, as of this morning, there has been reports from surrounding Armand Lauriente when it seemed like the deal was all but done, that the deal is off. Now, there's a lot of things that kind of go into this, right? And there's some things that don't sit particularly well with me. And this is just guessing. It's pure speculation from everyone at the moment, right? So yesterday, and this is going to play into Armand Lauriente, so I'm not leaving it, by the way. Romain Mundle, a lot of people were predicting that he had, he was on his way. He was rejecting the Sunderland deal and he's on his way out because he was very quiet and what have you. And the people were nitpicking that he deleted a couple of photos off Instagram and really trying to find some kind of evidence that Romain Mundle is leaving. And then yesterday, before the game against Sevilla, he made a post, an Instagram post, that he had been injured. He had picked up an injury in training in Portugal, and he's had surgery, or at least he's had to have surgery. We still don't know at least right now, as I'm recording this, we don't know the exact extent to the injury in terms of how long the timescale is going to be out. But that is the case. He is out, which is a massive blow. I can't see him leaving now. He won't be able to pass a medical anywhere, do you know what I mean? But this is almost as bad, if he's going to be out for a very long time. Now, this is how it plays into the Armand Lauriente deal, really. So, apparently, according to a lot of journalists, the deal couldn't be fully agreed by all parties. However, what doesn't sit well with me is that yesterday there were photos with Armand Lauriente on a private jet heading to Portugal, where we are, to do his medical. So what doesn't sit well with me is, why would Sunderland, why would the people above roll out the red carpet, get him a private jet, all accommodated for, to send him out to Portugal, when a deal wasn't fully agreed. Something doesn't sit right. If you're still negotiating, why would you be sending out a player? Why would you be sending a private jet to pick up a player to go do a medical when a deal isn't fully agreed? So what I think may have happened, at least what a few people are suggesting or speculating, because that's all it is, maybe the deals were largely agreed, particularly between the club, or at least between the clubs. But maybe with the news coming out that Mundle is now injured, meaning we're definitely we're a bit more desperate than we were a couple of days ago for another left-sided player like Lauriente. So maybe the agent has asked for a bit more money and changed the goalposts a little bit. Or maybe Sassuolo have done the same thing, but I don't think that would be the case. I think the agent or player maybe asked for more, or at least the agent. I'm not sure. I don't want to try and knock the lad's character because I don't know him, of course, but maybe the agent has then asked for more money because we've seen that we're desperately more in need of a left wing or a left-sided player. So they tried to push it up a bit more, and then the club would just go, no, piss off. We've already agreed on something. Do you know what I mean? Which, if that was the case, I absolutely stand by the club, and I'm happy about it. Not happy about losing him, but happy that we're not getting our pants pulled down. I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, we're spending too much money, this, that, and the other," but I think the club have calculated everything and balanced everything up when it comes to all these transfers. So it does show that we're not going to let ourselves get taken the piss out of. And if that is the case, I'm all for it. It's sad that we don't have him because I think it would be an absolutely outstanding signing. But if it is the case of the Sassuolo or Lauriente, his agents have tried to take the piss and we've said no, I'm all for it. But yeah, so that's everything, guys. I think it would be more speculating than anything else. I'm not going to try and say that, oh, this happened or that happened, because I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what you guys think down below in the comments. But I'll leave it there for now. There isn't much else to discuss. There was one more report about Jacques this morning. Apparently, we have offered a 3-year deal, but I don't know whether that was sort of absolute fact. Over the last couple of days, it's been largely suggested that the Jacques deal, or at least Jacques, is leaning towards staying at Bayer Leverkusen, but I didn't want to do a full video when not much has been released. But that is everything. If you've enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new. But for now, take care. How are you, the lads? Keep the faith.